and she'll be a bit of our moderator. And then also I have this wave to everybody, Katie. There you go. And we also have Jeff Wilson with us, and Jeff is our account manager, and he's actually doing sales, and he's familiar with some of the sales conversion issues that we're, like every small business is kind of running into. And as part of the presentation, Jeff will be kind of a resource because he's actually working in the weeds, so to speak, with clients on some of this stuff. So welcome, Jeff. You can wave as well if you want. There you go. So the topic of today is increasing your sales by fixing your leaky sales bucket. So the big problem that we see with a lot of our clients is that you're getting traffic to your website and you're getting inquiries to all kinds of different channels, but you just don't seem not to be able to convert enough people that have inquired or are interested in what you have to offer actually into paying customers. So if, just by a show of hands or maybe in the chat, like, is this a fair assessment? Can you identify with this, or do you have a particular problem that you run into that you would like to bring up at this point? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I do want to give you the opportunity to really indicate what some of the things that you're struggling with.
I'll go if you want.
Yeah, sure, go for
it. So yeah, I guess it's probably part of the planning going forward is, you've got resources online, but it's a means of, finding that niche customer and getting him or her to, click through to the next step, whether that's, some sort of online offering, or whether that's to, book through to a call or a consultation or whatever it might be with a firm. And I guess, finding the mechanisms to put into place to get from the current point to point B and getting those, those leads turned into customers going forward.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks, Jared. Like you give a nice description of kind of what some people call the sales funnel, right? Although that word has a little bit negative connotations for some people, that we're putting people to a funnel, but that's kind of the process that people go through to go from getting to know, like, and trust you, but actually, buying from you or have an inquiry or phone your office or set up that appointment, right? That's the ultimate conversion. So conversion can actually mean actually purchasing a product, but conversion could also mean like booking an appointment, right? Like Jared, you're a accountant, right? So oftentimes your sales process is probably starting with people don't buy anything online from your business, right? Like it generally starts with a relationship, an appointment, something to get going. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? And again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do want to give you the opportunity. Anne?
Hi. Sorry, I was late joining. And my company is tiny. There's only myself and a couple of colleagues. So I'm not sure, but for me, I guess sort of similar to Jared. I mean, I sell a service for career and employment, but I think for me is tracking and having something that's sort of one system where we track all of our inquiries, our follow-up, being able to schedule, and even, I don't know if your program has this, but even the billing in the end and being able to kind of tie the whole circle. That's what's of interest to me. But like I say, I'm just a tiny little company at this point. But talking to Jeff the other day, it did really interest me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, and again, that's a good, you're at the right place. I think we're going to talk about all those things. And smaller company or larger company, these tools are available to anybody these days, and they're very affordable. And that really has changed the game for a lot of small businesses, I think. So the thing is, how can a small business like yours actually capitalize on this and actually use some of these tools to your advantage? You don't have to be a mega company now anymore to have what we call a CRM system, right? Customer relationship management system. There's we have some really good news for you, I guess. Like, we do have a solution for most of the things that you've brought up so far. So anybody else? Okay, I'll just continue on. If a question bubbles up, by all means, just please interrupt me. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So yeah, this is a problem that a lot of companies are struggling with, right? Like how do you can actually convert more clients? Because we all know even a small change in the number of people that we can convert into becoming a paying customer can pay huge dividends, right? For example, in this example, even a 1% increase in your conversion rate, so how many people actually book that appointment or purchase your product, whatever your definition of conversion is, or find out about your organization. Even a 1% increase can definitely add a lot of profitability to your business, because all the costs, let's face it, all the costs for getting that customer or potential customer to your door in the first place are more or less the same, no matter how many people you convert. So it's really, in my opinion, it's a really easy win if you can make really small improvements in the process. And it will really pay off in the end, because your cost is basically remaining the same, but you're converting more people into paying clients, and that's ultimately, of course, the goal for most of you. So we call that in our industry kind of like the leaky sales bucket. And let's face it, and some of you have already brought it up, there's so many different channels that people expect to communicate with you right now. So you have, of course, your phone calls. You have your emails that come in, you have, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, direct messaging. Google, of course, has a chat feature, which a lot of our clients are actually not super familiar with. But what if your customer or your potential customer, that's their preferred method of communication, or they just happen to be on your Google My Business profile and they want to interact with you? So then there's lead capture forms or just contact forms on your website that people can fill in. They need to go somewhere. Then you have, people that land on your website organically or through a paid campaign. There's, a lot of cases there's an option for website chat, actually allowing somebody to interact with you through a cell phone and a chat bubble on the website. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. And like the biggest problem we see, like all these things go into your leads bucket or your sales bucket, but we see a lot of leakage coming out of the bucket, and there's a few reasons for that. First of all, it's a little bit of the unknown. Like not everybody's familiar with all these platforms. We run into situations that people actually don't know that people are trying to reach them through Google. Right? So we see those messages come in, but nobody's responding to them because the business owner has no system set up for like who's going to respond to them, first of all, or they simply just don't know they're coming in. So that's a missed opportunity. So if you can turn it around and actually be aware of that, now at least you have a chance to capture that new inquiry and actually follow up with them, right? Which is really the number one reason why those leaks appear is people, inquiries, they fall between the cracks. Like, and I can identify with that. Like before we hired Jeff, like our business is growing, it became more and more difficult for me to actually stay in touch with everybody and each and every inquiry, make sure I was following up correctly, right? So I think a lot of businesses are in that same boat. They are just overwhelmed with trying to follow up on everything. So if you don't follow up or you don't respond to a new inquiry, of course, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to go to your competition, right? They're keep on searching, and if there's no personal connection with your business, they're just going to move on. So that's an easy thing. Once you have a system in place to actually capture all the information, it's a relatively easy way to, at the very least, follow up. Now, the second thing that we see a lot of reason why some websites are not converting, there is not everybody's ready to buy today, right? Like some people, depending on your product, may take some time before from the time they get to know that you exist to the time that they're actually going to interact with you. It's a bit of a process, right? It's not always just, okay, I find out about your services and bang, I'm going to be ready to buy that today. So if you have nothing else to do for that group of people, which is a large group of visitors to your website, you basically lose them, right? Like, because you have no way to capture that information from them. And then the third thing we see, there's no automation. And as your business is growing, and even in a small business, you can have 10 or 20 or 30 inquiries each week or each month, right? And of course, they're not all qualified maybe, but if you don't have a system to actually manage that, it's really, really hard to have a consistent communication with them. So that's what we're talking about today here, kind of solve some of those problems as well. Again, your customers are on a journey. So you need to basically have a conversation with them until they're ready to buy from you, right? So then that could be, depending on your business, the sales cycle, like the time from that they start investigating and the time they actually order the product or service. It varies by industry, but it's almost never just the same day, right? There's a very small percentage of people that are ready to buy right now. So what some of this technology makes possible is wherever these people are in the stages, you can actually automate some of that conversation with them, right? So you don't have to really, first of all, you don't have to worry about it, that it doesn't get done. You can actually automate that, which allows you to be more efficient. And that alone will definitely increase the numbers of leads that you can actually capture. So there are three components of a successful marketing system, and that's kind of what we work on with our clients. So number one is of course the strategy, and we've done several other webinars on this, so we'll not go into detail too much on that. And then after you have your strategy or your plan together, now you generally speaking are in the business of lead generation. You're promoting your business and trying to get more traffic to your website. And then the third step in this is, and this is what we will talk about today mainly, is to actually convert some of these people into paying customers. And there's three stages: capturing these leads, then nurturing them, and then closing the deal in the end, which is the ultimate goal in most cases. Any questions so far? Did I miss out anything or any other thoughts? Just want to make sure I make this available for everybody. Okay, so real quickly on the strategy, if you want to find out more about this, by all means, you can talk to me at any time. But strategy should address three main things. It should include your ideal customer, like who are you selling your service to, like who are you helping. Have a very good understanding of who they are, because you can't serve everybody, right? So you want to zoom in on your ideal client. Then your problem-solving methods, meaning you are in the business of solving a problem, whatever the problem is. You need to identify what the problem is you're solving, and then how you actually solve that for them. And the third component of that is your online presence, because a lot of people are already making up their mind before they even contact you by what they see online. So you have to make sure that you have those pieces in place. Then after you have a strategy and a plan, this is an overview of some of the areas that we believe every small business should work in. So that includes your website, it includes the content you're putting out, search engine optimization. Again, I don't want to talk about this a lot, but these are all tactics and strategies that most small businesses are employing or should employ to generate more leads that come, generally speaking, to their website, because we believe the website is the building block of your marketing, and all the traffic, everything you do should generally lead back to your website. Okay, so we may have a slightly different take on this than some other marketers, but we still believe that the website is a super important foundation of your marketing. Just by nodding of your heads, do most of you agree with that, or somebody wants to? Feel free to challenge me on that as well. We just see what works in our world, and that's kind of still the main foundation. And the good news is you own your website. You don't depending on Facebook or YouTube or whatever platform to actually hold you hostage, I guess, with their system. So that's another advantage, but that's a whole different discussion. So now we're going to talk about conversion, right? So we've done all these things right. So we have traffic to the website, we have inquiries coming in. Now, how can we fix some of the leaks in our bucket, right? So between capturing new leads is basically making sure we have, instead of just having follower on social media, we actually, by capturing a lead, by allowing them to download a document from our website, or an ebook, or a free course, or whatever you come up with as your lead generator, By capturing their name and their email, now you actually have a real person or a real business that you can actually interact with. So if you don't capture leads, all the rest that I'm going to talk about will not really make any sense because you have nobody to talk to. Hopefully that makes sense. So once you do that, then the next thing is you want to nurture these leads. You want to create a conversation with them. And, like, again, the tools we're going to present here towards the end, it makes it really easy for you actually to automate a lot of that. And that's really, really powerful because that allows you to really have a personal interaction with your client, but a lot of it is automated. Okay, so that allows you to scale and be more effective again. And finally, of course, is closing the leads. So what are some tactics about for capturing leads? Well, a lot of times it's content these days, right? You have a piece of content that's valuable enough for people to consume. It could be an ebook, it could be a video, it could be an online course, whatever it is, that something that's really valuable enough for the people to provide their email and their name for. Okay, so in exchange for that, and we've all done that. So if you create enough value in a piece like that, you'll have people download that, and you can start that conversation. The other way of capturing leads is, like a chat bubble on your website, right? You see that with a lot of websites now, they have a little thing you can click. You can start a conversation, and like right away now you have a text conversation with your clients. And again, a lot of small businesses haven't quite jumped on the texting your client bandwagon yet, whereas a lot of people now, that's a preferred way of communicating. So if you're not texting your clients or don't have a mechanism in place to actually do SMS texting with your clients, I really feel you're missing out. And it's the same for some of the other communication tools as well that I discussed earlier. Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have anything to add to anything that I've said so far?
No, I think so far you've kind of hit it right on the head. I think obviously the first step and a big part of the process is finding the best ways to capture those leads. And as we get further into it, we'll be able to show you some tools that help keep those organized, because that can often be part of the problem, is staying organized with your lead capturing.
Exactly.
I have a question at some point through here with some of the different slides. Would it be appropriate, and then this goes to the whole group, if I wanted to do a post saying, I'm attending this webinar, it would be a good promo for Edge, but I also think it's good for me as a business owner to talk that, what I'm doing. I would make sure I don't have anybody's pictures or names, just Edge and a slide. Is everybody okay with that? Anybody not okay with that?
No, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I'm definitely okay with that. Thanks for doing that, Anne. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so how can we prevent this leaky bucket again? Like having automated responses, for example, right? Like what happens if you miss a phone call? And we see that a lot in the trades, especially. Like they're small companies, they're actually providing the service. They don't have a receptionist necessarily to answer the calls, and guess what? They're just in the middle of a job. They miss a call. Now, if that's a potential new client, what if they get a voicemail or they don't get a response? What is going to happen next? They're just going to go to the next plumber, the next provider of this service, right? So something as simple as a automated responder could actually help with that. We're going to talk about like how the leads, and Anne, you already talked about it. How can you actually make that visible, like where everybody is at, right? As far as if you work even with a small team, or even if you just are a team of one, how can you kind of make this visible and see where everybody's at in that flow of things? So nurturing means the best way I can explain it, or one way I have explained it in the past, is: are you a hunter or are you a farmer? Right? When it comes to your business, I dare to say that a lot of small businesses, and we're not different in some ways, we're always out looking for the next project, right? We're always out on the hunt. We're hunting for new clients. correct? And there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, we need to look for new business, but what I'm trying to get across here, if you think of yourself more as a farmer that seeds, plant little seeds and start building relationships with people, and you nurture those leads so they flourish and they grow, that's a much better way approach to marketing these days. Because again, like what we said earlier, not everybody is ready to buy today. So you need to make sure you have something in place to nurture that relationship. So that's what it means to be a marketing farmer instead of a marketing hunter. And that has to do with nurturing those relationships. And in the end, your harvest is going to be much bigger and a lot less stressful as well, because guess what? You're dealing now with clients that already know you. And if they start to trust you, and the sales conversation is a very natural progression of that. It's actually not a hard sell anymore. You're just helping them solve a problem. And that's really what's really important in marketing today. Yeah, so you want to guide them through this, the customer journey, we call it, right? Like from the time they get to know you, like, and trust, and to the point they actually may try you out or purchase the product. Conversations turn into conversions. I think that's a very important thing to remember. Nobody wants to be sold to anymore. So you need to have a conversation, and you have to be honest with them, and you have to be real with them, right? I see some of the people on the call, you have your own, electronic channels with video, for example. And what you just said, like sharing information on some of the stuff that you're working on, that gives you personality, right? That makes you real for people, and that's really important. So it's really important actually to stop selling and start educating. So the last thing I want to cover is the actual close, and that's of course, making the sale, so to speak. But again, if you do all this work properly, it's a natural progression of what you've been working on. It's just helping people with their problem. So some of the practical ways you could do that, like make it extremely easy to interact with you again, right? Like I said, the automatic appointment booking, for example, like a lot of companies, service companies especially, if your goal is to set up those appointments, make it very easy for your client to book a time slot and actually get it done right away. So you don't have to go back and forth to see what works and what doesn't work. Like reduce some of the friction will really help you to increase the number of people that actually click that button and actually say, yeah, I can do this. Online payments is another thing, right? Like if you're right at the moment when you actually, are closing this transaction, you can take payment. It kind of gives you that instant gratification of closing that deal. So we've talked about a lot of different things here, more in theory, and now Jeff and I will talk a little bit more about actually how you can actually implement this with some software tools, right? And that was part of this presentation as well. So we have now a white labeled customer relationship management program called LeadFlow. And we call it like managed CRM, which basically means, like from our experience again, and my experience in business in general, there's a lot of small businesses that have tried to implement a CRM system, but have failed. And the number one reason why a lot of small businesses are failing at this is because there's no support, and you're basically left on your own devices when it comes to this. So that is not our approach. This is particularly geared toward our clients, and we know our clients very well. So you don't have to worry too much about the technical aspects of this, right? Because just like anything else online, these things get technical really quickly. So we're trying to really alleviate some of that and make it really easy for this, to implement this in your business. So it basically includes all the different tools that we talked about, all the different stages, right? Like a calendar booking function, like a tracking of your phone number, landing pages for particular campaigns, automated follow-ups, right? You can have sequences of emails that are being sent to your clients on a particular interval, and you design this all specifically for your process and for your business. And then making this whole process more visible, right? Like the pipeline. So what do you have in the pipeline? Like what are people coming through your business, and what are the stages in some of these tools make it possible to visualize some of those things. So in essence, and again, I realize this is pretty small print here, but this tool replaces a lot of the tools that you may already be using. For example, like a lot of people are using MailChimp for their email marketing. They may use Calendly for their booking software. They may use, they have maybe some of you have online education on your website. You have another tool for that. So before you know it, you have a whole stack of all these different apps that you need to run your business, and it makes it hard to manage. Plus, it becomes really expensive as well, right? You can spend thousands of dollars a month on all these tools. So, Jeff, maybe I should just engage you a little bit in some of these slides here, since you're kind of working actually with the program, and you're getting the direct feedback from some of our clients. Now, this is relatively new. We started this process probably like 6 months ago, but we have again we've onboarded several clients now, and we're getting really good feedback. So, Jeff, we just have a few highlights, I guess, of what it is, and then what you see on the screen is kind of a screenshot, but we don't want to go into too much detail. Basically, Jeff, explain us what some of these things do at a very high level.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Peter. So as mentioned before, one of the major benefits I talked about in regards to your clients and your leads and keeping track of them is the organization of it. So when we talk about one single database, as you can see, they're laid out nicely there. It's quick and easy to access all the content information that you need. You can assign tasks to a client. So if you have a follow-up task you need to do with that client, you can assign it. You can set a date and time for it. It helps organize and make that easy for you. You can add notes. So if you add separate notes on your interactions with each client, then anybody else in your sales team or on your management team that's utilizing this tool along with you can go in and they can keep pace and keep track with the conversation that's happening with that lead or with that client. So everybody's on the same page, and it's just very helpful when say people go on vacation through the summer and somebody else is covering off for them. They have the ability to keep track with that. So
yeah, so even if you are a team of one, right, or you have a very small sales team, or you have a sales team of 5 or 10 people, this will really help you to have one central place where you go look for this information, right? Like a lot of businesses that I've dealt with over the years, this information is either in Outlook, or part of it is in Outlook, part of it is in the accounting system, part of it's in the ordering system. So there's no one central database of this information. So with this, you would have everything in one place. So web chat is another thing that we've actually very recently added to our own website. So we practice what we preach. But what it does, it allows your customers, again, to, when they're on your website, to actually interact with you directly. And a lot of the traffic that comes to your website is mobile, right? Like we see upwards of 60 to 70% of all the traffic being mobile. And what do people do on their mobile besides browsing the web? Well, it is texting, right? Texting is for a lot of people the preferred way of communicating. So this, again, what we have found by making this available, and we've experimented with a few other clients as well, they get instant new inquiries that otherwise they probably wouldn't have had, because there's no real, they don't want to email, they don't want to phone, but a quick text is just the easiest thing in the world. So you're reducing the friction for people to contact you, and this is really easy to implement.
Yeah, just to add to that, Peter, I think we're all seeing it too. You mentioned the use of mobile phone for viewing websites and getting in contact with companies. Obviously, it's becoming a preferred method of contact, particularly with among younger generations. But in experience in using this, it provides a faster medium for response. It helps make your communication more efficient, and can often even help with preventing delays, whether it's for decision making or even having a lead or a customer making a commitment to something with you.
Yeah. So again, if you're not texting or making texting available for your clients, I think you're really missing out, because it's like Jeff said, it's the preferred way for a lot of people to contact you. Now, what you see on the screen here is basically the automated tool. So you don't actually you can use this tool two ways. You can use it on your cell phone, and it just becomes like another texting tool. But you also have a desktop version available as well. So this dashboard you're seeing here just has to do with where all the different communications with a client actually happen. So again, there's visibility that you can share with your team. Jeff, you want to say anything else?
Yeah, I just, it's probably hard for you guys to see, but in the conversation list there's a few highlighted circled blue icons. And so each of those is representing a different medium of conversation that's happening within the tool. And the conversation can go back and forth between different communication mediums. So we have Instagram and Facebook, direct messengers showing up here in the same conversation as emailing, texting, as well as phone call. Can show up on there and show that the contact has made a call and a conversation had. So yeah, it's a great way to track all of those conversations, despite the mediums in one conversation area.
Yeah. So is anybody tracking phone calls into their business? Yeah. So.
Am I allowed to ask a question yet?
Absolutely, Bill. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I had a bit of an experience with one of these messenger apps. It was when I was looking at buying a printer, and this is just my own experience, and just wonder if it has any relevance to this. When I went to Brother years ago, I bought a Brother printer, and I was really happy with their live human service. This time when I bought one and I tried to set it up, they only had a messenger app, and I was having some difficulty, and the only thing they would give me is generic answers that had nothing to do with my question or issue.
Yeah.
And that actually got me so frustrated that I went to Hewlett Packard and was able to talk to a live human on the phone. And now I got 2 printers from Hewlett Packard in my business as a result.
Yeah, no, you bring up a really good point, Bill. Like, and that's, of course, this is not meant to replace human interaction and solving problems for you. What you probably were dealing with is like a bot, right? Like an AI bot that is trying to understand what your problem is and then giving random answers. And I can totally relate to that. That can be a very frustrating experience. But in this case, this is just as soon as people, like, this inquiry comes in, now it's your job to convert this into a different channel. So you can, like the most common response would be to, well, are you available for a phone call so we can follow up, right? So you want to just steer that discussion directly to a different like form of communication that you feel is more appropriate for this particular customer, right? So, but yeah, that's taking some of these ideas to the extreme. And of course, there's very large companies they try to scale their business that way, right? And some of them are, relatively successful with that, but there's definitely room for improvement on this point. So the thing why we would recommend this for you to implement, it would be just strictly as a lead generation tool, okay, to get more people, allow you to talk to more people and then take over the conversation into a direction that you actually have control over it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, what we're looking at here, Jeff?
So this is the sales pipeline tool. You can create your own pipeline that makes sense for your business with what the titles are to each phase along the way. It allows you to advance each of your clients or specific projects through your conversion phases from capture to nurture to close. And you can keep track of them along the way. It's, again, just another great tool for keeping you on track and keeping you organized to be able to follow that pipeline.
Yeah, so this is a Kanban tool. So there's different ways you can use this, but it has those little you can move these things around manually, or you can create automations. So actually automatically, if somebody has been followed up with, you can move them up to the next stage into the process. So it gives you great visibility about what are some of the things that you're working on. Where's everybody at in this in your process? Next one, email marketing. Like, how many of you are actually consistently emailing your clients? Like just, yeah, see some people nodding. I can't, or not sure. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So yeah, the email marketing tool is another great feature that's built in. Again, it removes that requirement to have another subscription to a separate tool. This one comes fully equipped with the ability to make branded templates. Your contact list is already built into the system, so you're just grabbing the clients you want that message to go to. The system has the ability to verify your email addresses to make sure your list has improved deliverability. And there's also the ability to automate your email campaign. You can select the sending date, the sending time, the days of the week that it sends on, and the number of recipients. So it's a very impressive tool that they have built in.
Yeah. So, and again, I know email marketing takes some, has taken the backseat in some cases for some of the other tactics, but from our experience, it's still an extremely powerful way of communicating with people that already have bought from you in the past, right? Because it's fair to say that most people have email, but not everybody may have Facebook Messenger, for example, right? So it's a tool that, it's almost guaranteed that your customers are using. So if you can actually, again, have the conversation with them and you provide them valuable information, this is not about spamming people with information they're not looking for. But if you actually give them value and tips and tricks and however you want to approach this, it's an extremely good strategy. And this tool makes it extremely easy. And again, if you have this information in, for example, MailChimp, now that's its own island again, right? There's no connection with any other tools. So that makes it a little bit difficult. So appointment booking, we briefly talked about it already. So, if you're using Calendly now, this actually replaces it. Like if you've been to our website or if you've been booking appointments with us, we're using this tool and it works extremely well. You can set up your whole team with their own calendar. You can have a general calendar and it integrates with the calendar system that you're already using. For example, Google, you can actually have those calendars and you make it really easy for people to just pick a time and date that works for them. And again, there's nothing to do with not being approachable. And some people still will phone you or email you directly to set up a time, and that's fine too. But this is for the people, and there's more and more of them that go like, well, I know Tuesday morning, 10 o'clock, I'm available. I see Peter or Jeff is available at a time. Boom, I'm booking the meeting, and you're done. You don't have to worry about it. So again, you reduce some of the friction that otherwise goes back and forth and trying to establish the time that works for everybody. Reputation management, again, we do a fair bit of work with our clients on getting reviews and making sure that their online presence is consistent and makes sense, right? So this is another tool that you can use to actually manage that. So your whole team can see, hey, we've got so many reviews. Again, some people actually don't know those reviews are happening, right? And if it's a good review, then that's okay. But if somebody says something that's maybe could be improved upon, now you need to have a place where you can kind of manage that and be made aware of it, right? There's so many small businesses that actually don't know that they are being reviewed by people. And reviews is probably one of the number one things that people go by when they look for services from new providers. So it's really important to get this part of your business in order as well.
It also helps just to ensure that you respond, which is a huge part of reviews that a lot of businesses miss out on. That response. It's easy to respond to a good review, but responding to the improvement reviews is even more critical.
Yeah. And finally, like I already mentioned it, like this, it also comes in a mobile app as well. So if you're a mobile person, you can actually follow along these conversations on your app, on your phone. And especially when it comes to these, for example, the web chat, for example, right, that could come in at different times of the day. So this is just another text that gets to your into your bucket, so to speak. So yeah, this basically kind of wraps up the different or what we wanted to talk to you about. I'd love to get some feedback or some additional questions from you that we may be able to answer.
Is there quite a bit of back end work to implement this kind of in conjunction with an existing website?
Yeah, like it is definitely, like I said earlier, like it gets technical really fast. And that's where I think we're in a really good position to help you with this, because we are a web development and marketing company that we work with those pieces of information. And again, we do most of the heavy lifting of setting it up for you. And of course, the people that we're already working with, we have access, for example, to the website. Your Google Analytics, for example. It all needs, for this to work, of course, everything needs to be linked together. And that's a one-time setup step that we take, but we do most of that work for you. And whereas there's a gazillion other CRM systems you can sign up for, no problem, right? And they all have their advantages. But our approach is we want to make it extremely easy for you to not having to worry about that and just reap the benefits, but not have to worry so much about the technical aspects of it. And I think that's where you see success. Thanks for the question.
I have a question, although the last one was most of it was answered for me, but I'm wondering too, so when you purchase this, you would help us get set up. So that's great, because that's an area I would definitely need. Is there, like, because my business is smaller, is the monthly payment the same for any company, or there for smaller businesses? I know we could probably apply to, oh, thank you. Okay. As my son said to me years ago, and he was Lily, goes, I'm way before you, Mom.
Yeah,
So,
okay. No. Yeah, no, good question. So yeah, like we have different packages available based on your needs, right? So the standard is getting you the two-way texting, getting you some of the web chat and just the basics to get you instant wins, more or less. If you want to go beyond that, and a lot of our clients are almost like, starting at this point, but if you want to do the calendar, if you want to do the email marketing and all that, then the professional package is a really good choice. And then we have the third level is if you're dealing with membership sites, if you have online courses, social planners, got a few more advanced features in it. So the nice thing about it is like, it's not really, it doesn't matter how many users you have. Like a lot of these products, they're all based on the number of users that have access to the account. If you have 5, 10, 20 people that need to have access to this information, it's all accessible. So it's not gated to just 1 or 2 users. So again, does that answer your question, Anne?
it does, thank you. I'm also curious though, like, for example, could you tailor it? So for example, if I wanted, like when I look at the premium package, what interests me is the invoicing. Can I swap that out from something else, or is that an option?
That's something that, yeah, like these packages are built to kind of address different needs in the market, but there's definitely ways we can tailor a package for you as well. Good point. Because we're offering this as a do-it-yourself option as well. But in your case, we would actually help you with the implementation. So we could move things around and create a package that works for you. Yeah.
Peter, can you hear me? This is Toby from BDC.
Yeah, hi Toby. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good. Okay, sorry, I couldn't tell if my camera was turned on me or not. I don't know, I was a few minutes late getting here, but just wanting to make sure, did you address the CDAP program in place right now? Are you familiar with the CDAP, Canada Digital Adoption Plan?
Yes. Yeah. No, I didn't specifically address it, but it has been. We have discussed this with our clients. You want to just quickly speak to that, because that may be interesting for people on the call.
Well, yes, definitely, because so the Canada Digital Adoption Program is designed to help Canadian entrepreneurs increase and improve their digital capabilities so that they can do all of the things that Peter's talking about, like reach more clients and become more profitable, and also reduce workloads, which will improve or help with the continual labor shortages that a lot of people are experiencing. So how it works is basically you would apply for, you can get a grant basically to cover BDC BDC is one of the providers of a digital adoption plan. And so basically, as a small business provider, you can go onto the ISED website. That's Innovation, Science, Economic Development, I think is the name. It's the government, and you get a registration link, and then you can let's say reach out to BDC. BDC could align you with a consultant to develop your digital plan. It's about an 8-week program to go through the process. And then you submit the plan to ISED, and they will give you back 90% of the cost of that advisory consulting mandate. And I believe for small businesses under $2 million, it's $15,750. So you would get 90% of that back, keeping in mind that they do draw the money throughout the process. So you still have to sort of have the funds available to cover that, but then you'll get it back at the end. Then at the end, you'll have a digital adoption plan. So it goes through, your existing readiness and where the areas that you need to improve. And then an organization like Peters, for example, may be able to help you implement the plan. So whether that's the website marketing or whether it's implementing the CRM systems or whatever, and you can actually apply then to BDC for $100,000 interest-free loan. So up to 100. So whatever the amount of your digital adoption plan is going to be, like let's say it's going to cost you $40,000 to implement some of the website design and whatever to cover the cost of Peter's fees, for example, then you would be able to pay for that through the loan, and it would be 0% interest. So, that's basically the gist of it. So if you're in a place where you need help developing your digital adoption plan, BDC can definitely help with that. And then you could get a interest-free loan to help cover the cost of implementation through, for example, Edge Marketing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing it up, Toby. We have talked to, there's another level as well that has more to do with e-commerce, right?
No, it can be,
Yeah.
it can be everything. So,
okay.
It can be from the implementation of, like I said, we even have we have a system selection program at BDC to help clients like you were talking about. So many of them have have issues. They'll just select a CRM and then they're kind of left hanging on their own sort of thing. So we do have we don't do the implementation. We don't do the actual implementation, but we can do the research and go through all of and then that plan would be eligible for the ISED grant. And then, or sorry, not the ISED grant, but the $100,000 loan. That system selection is not available for the grant portion, but it does, if anyone out there is looking at CRM systems, that plan would be eligible to get the up to $100,000 grants. But so it covers a number of things, not just e-commerce at all.
Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that. So if anybody has more questions, they can either reach out to me, because I am familiar with the program as well, or get in contact with BDC. They can help you with that. So it looks like there's some funds available